Hey guys, and welcome to Living with Lorna. Today I'm ready for fall. I'm in a fall mood, and with fall comes the need for, heartier foods and certain spices and things that just really mean fall to me. Things like cinnamon and ginger and nutmeg and pumpkin. And because I am craving fall, cooler weather, football's already here, I really want to make something kind of fallish today. I'm in the mood, and sometimes when you get in that mood, you got to do it. So today, I'm going to be making an old-fashioned gingerbread cake. Now, the recipe came from a cookbook I've had forever. It is a cookbook entitled Best Recipes from the Back of Boxes, Bottles, Cans, and Jars. This is one of the first cookbooks I was ever given. I was given this by my grandmother one year for Christmas, and it has a lot of sentimental value to me, plus it has a lot of really great recipes. So today we're going to make a gingerbread cake, and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk to you about are the ingredients. Just as anytime you're making a recipe, you have to have the right ingredients. And so to make this gingerbread cake, you're going to start with a half cup of margarine, or I'm using Crisco. I just find it works better. You're going to have 2/3 a cup of molasses, 1 cup of buttermilk. Now, again, I don't have buttermilk on hand. Most of the time I use whole milk, and then I make it sour by adding in a couple of tablespoons of vinegar. I also have baking soda and salt, and then I have brown sugar, flour, 2 eggs, and our spices. So I have 2 teaspoons of ginger and a teaspoon of cinnamon. So we're going to get started. As always, when you're starting with a baked item, you want to start with your sugar and your eggs and your fat, because when you're properly creaming something, you want to make sure that you get all of those items combined properly. So that's what we're going to start with today. We're just going to pan up to the mixer, and so we're going to tilt the head back, and into the mixer we're just going to start with our shortening. Now, I prefer to use a butter shortening. This is plain shortening. It's just what I happen to have. I needed it plain for another recipe, and so I had some left. I've got 1 cup of packed brown sugar. Brown sugar should be packed anytime you're measuring it, unless your recipe specifically states otherwise. And so there goes our brown sugar. Make sure we get all that yumminess in there. And we're going to put in our 2 eggs. Now, these are store-bought. They're not fresh like I typically use. But again, you have to be careful not to do that. And then you also need to check them out for any impurities. These I know are perfectly fine. The next thing we're going to do is tilt down the head, lock it into place, turn it on, and we're going to let this mix for 7 minutes. So I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so we have combined our butter and our brown sugar and our eggs, and we get this wonderful, light, airy mixture. The next thing that we need to add is our molasses. Now, anytime you're working with molasses, if you've ever touched molasses or honey, you know it's very sticky. And one of the tricks that they will tell you is to spray the inside of your measuring cup before you put the molasses or your ingredient in it, and it will just slip right out. It just saves you time having to scrape it out. Most of this came right on out. It really didn't adhere to the sides, which is the great thing about using something like pan spray, Pam, etc. So we're going to close this. We're going to let this combine for just a second, and then we're going to start adding in our dry ingredients and alternating that with our buttermilk. Now I've got my mixture made, and I'm about to scrape down the sides, and then I'm gonna start adding my dry ingredients in. And really, I just want to make sure that it got mixed all the way down to the bottom, which it did. I want to make sure that it's nice and well combined. I don't want any lumps or anything like that. So I have that together, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put all of my dry ingredients into the bowl that has the flour. All of my spices, my salt, my baking soda, etc. And then I'm going to slowly add this in. About half of it the first time, and about half of my buttermilk mixture. I'm going to close the lid, lock this in place, and we're just going to mix this very quickly until it's just combined. I don't want it to be overmixed. It will make a tough product, and you don't want that. So we're just going to mix it for just a second till all of the flour has been incorporated and the milk has been incorporated. And then we're going to go back in, add in the rest of our flour and the rest of our buttermilk, and put this down, and we're just going to do the same thing, just mixing it until it's completely combined. It doesn't take but a minute. This is a very stiff, sticky product. And because of that, it doesn't take a long time to cook, and it doesn't need a really hot oven. So that's mixed. We're going to lift this up. I'll pop this off. I'm going to take my scraper. I'm just going to remove any extra batter from my beaters. And set that into the sink. Take this off. Shift you guys over a little bit so you can get a look at how good this cake is going to be. Just make sure I scraped in on the sides, make sure everything is incorporated. Looks delicious. So I'm going to grab my pre-prepared pan. Now this is a 9x13 baking pan that I have well sprayed with pan spray. And so it's going to sit right here, and we're just going to pour our cake batter in, smooth it down to make sure it's good and level in our pan. And then it's going to go in a 350-degree oven for anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes. This does not take a long time to cook. It is going to be a chewy, dense gingerbread, which, have to be honest, I'm looking forward to. It is fall. Gingerbread is one of my favorite fall snacks. And sometimes, even in the summer, you just really get to craving those fall flavors. I know I do. So we're going to make sure that that's well scraped. It is. Don't want to leave any good in the bowl. Going to spread this out, make sure that it gets in the pan nice and even. And then I'm going to throw this in the oven, and I will show you a shot once it comes out. But it's going to be amazing. Alright, so there you have it. It's easy gingerbread cake. I'm going to wipe this with my impeccably clean fingers. And once it's done, I will make sure you guys get to see the finished product. But there you have it.